Well, bakers, today I'm going to show you how to make homemade dumpling wrappers. You're going to be able to make your own dumplings at home with this super easy dough, and they are absolutely delicious. So let's get started. In a nice big bowl, I have some all-purpose flour, recipes on biggerbolderbaking.com as always, and I have some cornstarch, which is also known as corn flour, and that is very typical in this dough. I think it kind of gives it that signature chew. Going to give that a little mix together. Now liquid. Here I have some water that was boiled a few minutes ago. It is obviously very hot. We want that for the dough to hydrate the dough. Into my water, I'm going to add in a little bit of salt. Now adding salt into your liquid, just make sure that the salt gets all the way throughout your dough. So it's actually a really good idea when making, cookies, cakes, like whatever it is, adding your salt into your liquid so it really disperses and you get that lovely flavor. And then we're going to add our water into our dough. Now, typical for me, I don't add in all the liquid at once. I'm going to start to mix it. I'm going to add in more liquid until my dough forms a ball. So if you've been following me for a while, you know I love to make homemade everything actually, but one of my favorite recipes is my 2-ingredient homemade pasta. And I thought to myself, I love Asian food, why not make my own dumpling wrappers or wonton wrappers? When it comes to making doughs, I like to go in with my hands because then I can really feel what's going on. Does my dough need more water? Is it on the drier side? Is it on the wetter side? If you need to add a splash more water to your dough to get it to pull together, then do so. But just remember, once it goes in, you can't take it out. So just, easy does it. Lovely, look at that. I know I'm broken record, but there's a method to my madness. A ball of dough, a nice clean bowl. That's how we know we added the right amount of liquid. Now, this is where the elbow grease comes in. We're going to knead this on the counter for around 10 minutes. We do want to strengthen it. We want to make sure it doesn't rip when we're using it. So we're going to develop the gluten a bit. As you can see, I have no flour on my surface here and we do not want flour. If you feel like you need to add something to your countertop, you can do cornstarch, but don't do flour. And if you wanted to, take some time off, you can make this dough on the stand mixer and knead it on the stand mixer also for around like 6 to 8 minutes. And that will work really well too. If you're making a big batch, you would want to do that actually. So knead it until it's lovely and smooth. Okay, I've done my time. That's enough. The dough is looking good, nice and smooth. I'm going to wrap it up tightly in some cling wrap, making sure none of it is exposed to the air. And I'm going to let this just hang out at room temperature and let it rest for 30 minutes. While it's resting, the gluten will relax and it'll be much easier to roll. So, see you in 30. So my dough has been relaxing, chilling. Take it out of your plastic and then just divvy it up to around like 4 chunks because we want to work with a little bit at a time. We won't be able to roll all of that out at the one time. Keep anything you're not using under your cling wrap. We don't want the air to get at it. Okay, here I have some corn flour. No flour, remember, just corn flour. So corn flour, your counter, I have it on my dough. Now we're going to roll this out chunk by chunk, as thin as possible. Just an FYI from experience, I'm a devil for working on top of myself. Make sure you have a lot of nice space so you can move around and get your dough as thin as possible. So one thing I wanted to do for 2024, because we have so much pasta on biggerbolderbaking.com, one of my goals was to do a dumpling wrapper, a wonton wrapper. So Ami and I, we set a day aside to do just wontons, test the dough, the fillings and all those things. We did different ways. We rolled the dough by hand. That worked really well. We also rolled the dough by a pasta machine. You can do that too. It works really well and it makes life really easy. We did a few different things and we got different results. The best results we got were just by hand, rolling it as thin as possible. Just remember, once this cooks, it'll thicken up. So just factor that in when you think like, have I rolled it thin enough? It'll get thicker once it cooks. Recently, we made phyllo pastry, which was kind of similar to this. So if you saw the phyllo pastry video, you'll know what I mean by like getting it nice and thin. So that thin, hand thin. Here I have a 3.5-inch round cutter. It might seem kind of big, but it's not once you cut out your little circles. It's like the perfect size for a dumpling. So I'll tell you a little anecdote. George Kurtz loves dumplings. There's one dinner I know I can get him to eat, and often we go out for Asian food, I know he will eat dumplings and he'll eat like 5 of them. I have a feeling he is going to love these also. You can make these, freeze them on a tray, and then cook them off, you know, add them to like as a side dish to a meal. You can like add them into like soups, which I love to do, and just like let them like simmer away in there and cook in the soup. So many great ways. And they're a good source of protein, nice carbs. I just love them, I love them. If you want to use all your scraps, go for it. The dumplings that we got from the re-rolled dough were tougher, FYI. So our wonton wrappers, once they're cut, to stack them, just make sure that they're dusted with cornstarch to stop them from sticking together, and then just stack them on top of each other. Not a lot of cornstarch, doesn't need a lot, just a little bit to stop them sticking together. Once you cut out a few dumplings, just cover them over, keep the air off them, and then just continue rolling out the rest of your dough. Get as many dumpling wrappers as you can. So here you go, I've got a lovely stack of homemade wonton wrappers, also known as dumpling wrappers. So here's what you want to do. Put them in a Ziploc bag, a little plastic bag, something like that. Make sure that they are all floured in between, and you can put these in your fridge for up to 24 hours, or you can freeze them straight away. That's totally up to you. I wouldn't let them hang out in the fridge too long, or they'll start to get wet and stick together. I'm actually going to use these straight away because I want to show you how to fill them, shape them, and cook them off. So to fill a few wontons, just lay them out as many as you want. Here I have some filling, and this is not my homemade filling. I actually follow a guy, and I met him once before, CJ Eats. He does a lot of Asian food, super nice guy, and does really great recipes. This is his pork and shrimp filling. So do a little teaspoon on each wonton, less is more because we don't want it to bust out, and put it kind of on 1/2 of your wrapper. I'm a devil for like overfilling stuff. I'm always doing it. I tell people like, don't overfill your ravioli. And then I'm a devil for doing it. Here we go. So here I have a little bowl of water. Dip your finger in there and run your damp finger around one side of the wonton. Fold it over into a half moon. And here's a trick when making pasta or dumplings or anything like that. Just squeeze out any air so they don't pop open. Do a little dab of water on one side. Bring these two together, the ends just to meet, just like that. And there you have your homemade dumpling. How pretty is that? Lovely. Set it over to the side and keep on going. You can almost have a wonton making party. And like I said, make a whole pile, freeze them flat on a tray, and then you can just cook them off whenever you want them. Once you get into the swing of this, you actually can do them really fast, and it's a lot of fun. So once you've shaped your dumplings, you can put them into the fridge for, I'd say, no more than 24 hours, or you can cook them off straight away. I like to steam mine in a pot over a little bit of simmering water, and I cook them for a few minutes just until I know that filling is cooked all the way through. If you've ever wondered, can you make your own homemade dumplings? The answer is yes, and you just saw how easy it is. And best of all, the recipe is fun to make, and the results are delicious. Okay, excuse me now, but I'm gonna do this with my hands. Oh my gosh, the flavor is so yummy. But that little wrapper is like perfectly thin. It's not too thick. I'll be honest with you, I personally didn't know how easy it was to have success by making our homemade dumplings and rolling them by hand. But trust me, you really, really can make some amazing dumplings. I hope seeing this video has inspired you to make your own homemade dumplings, and honestly, throw a dumpling party. Get the whole neighborhood involved. Everybody get together, make your dough, make your filling. Everybody gets dumplings to take home at the end of the day. Like, what fun. And you have a freezer full of dumplings. I hope you enjoyed this recipe, and I'll see you back here again this time next week for another new video.